Hello, girls and guys, and welcome to episode 46 of the VR Inside podcast. This is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show that is live streamed every Saturday on Nathies YouTube channel. You can tune into the show live at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, and 12 midday in central US. If you missed the live stream, you can catch up with the whole show as I re-upload it every Sunday to my own YouTube channel at virtual.reality Oasis. Or you can check out the audio version, which is available on Google Play Music and iTunes, and also SoundCloud. Can't forget that one. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback during the show, please put them in the chat. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. Now, if you're new to the show, let me introduce you to the team. First up, this guy is the latest member of the Guardians of the Mechaverse. It is, of course, Nathie. How you doing, dude? You all right?
What's up? Yeah, I'm doing coolio, and it's very warm outside, so I'm just gonna stay inside my Smeagol cave until it's over, until I see rain dripping on my window, because at this moment, like, I'm melting, seriously. It's so hot. Oh my.
It's like we're all praying for winter to come back.
yeah. We pray in circles to the winter gods out there. I hope they will listen.
It's difficult work VRing in this kind of heat.
Yes.
But, you know,
Exactly.
we push through, we put our bodies, hearts, minds, and souls on the line for you guys and girls to bring you the freshest news each week. So I hope you guys and girls appreciate it. So next up, this guy likes to go backwards really fast as he can. He really puts the pedal to the metal, you know, and that is, of course, Rowdy. How you doing, dude? You all right?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I mean, the weather has been great here. It's a bit warm indeed for VR, but at least I can do other things then sometimes as well. So I'm doing good. I'm doing very good.
Wait a minute. You've been doing other things? What is this?
Other things? What does that mean? Is that like outside? Is that real life or something? I don't know.
Mostly sleeping. Mostly sleep. Catching up on sleep. Like,
Okay.
That's what I've been doing.
We'll let you off this time then. Okay. The next guy, he is a proud father of a brand new baby Oculus Go. So congratulations in the chat for Zim's new little VR baby, please. Yeah. Congratulations.
Cute.
So
Is it a
beautiful.
boy or a girl?
Turn it away from the window.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pleased to see that you did get another one, though, and I'm sure we can sort of touch on that a little bit when you talk about what you've been up to this week. I'd love to know how that all kind of went down in the end.
Cheers.
So let's see what we're going to be talking about in this week's show. We're going to be talking about the future of the VR Inside podcast. We reveal what we've been working on for the past few months and talk about the future of this show. So very interesting indeed. We're also going to be talking about The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. Will this be the zombie game that we've all been waiting for? Well, we'll find out. We're also going to be talking about the Virtual Link, new connector that is going to allow us to just plug ourselves directly into the Matrix. No, I'm just joking. It's just a new card connector for graphics cards, but it is a big deal nevertheless. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And then finally, we're going to be talking about my hands-on experience with a VR180 camera. So I hope you guys and girls enjoy this show. But let's start off the show with finding out what everyone's been playing in the metaverse this week. And let's kick it over to Nathie first to see what you've been up to, dude.
Yeah, so I should say Mecca first, by the way, because we, Mike and I, tried Archangel, the new update, and was interesting. Let's say it like that. I still think the single player of Archangel isn't the best one out there. Maybe Rowdy will disagree because he played the entire thing. I just played, like, let's say half of the game. But the multiplayer on the other side is really nice because it allows you to just move freely, play against your friends in a deathmatch. You also have a PvE mode that's like an arena, like a wave-based shooting mode. I like the deathmatch a bit more. So yeah, Mike and I tried it. They paid us to do it, by the way, but we had fun like we did in the previous match too. We're noobs. We have no clue how this game works. We're just like, okay, let's just jump in, and we still didn't practice. We're like, I just pressing some buttons. Oh shoot, yeah, okay, shield, bam, okay, done. You know, but we're getting better, right? Like this is the second or the third time we played it now. Yeah. And the more you get into it, the more fun it gets. And the good news is that it's now free to play. So that means that everyone can just, jump in there. There was one thing that I still think is strange. I saw this on Steam. Some reviews said that there was like spyware on this game. I don't really know what that is all about. They said it's now gone, but the fact they put it into the game is sketchy. So let's hope it's gone now. I think it's safe to play, but no promises on that. But let's say if you don't care, they are spying on you. Well, then play
I
it.
think
But still,
it seems like the spyware was there to gather information about your play time and what you kind of did and stuff like that. It wasn't like malicious in any way. It was more like, you say, mining data about your play time and usage, I think.
But isn't every game doing that in a way?
I would imagine so in some way, shape, or other. Like, even Steam itself knows how long we've played stuff, and that data is publicly used. So I understand why people get upset about these things, but it has been going on for so long now that I think, you shouldn't be surprised necessarily if you hear these kind of updates from people.
Yes.
It's just the program that they're using is a little bit sketchy.
Yeah. But in terms of Archangel, I would agree that, we had fun with it. In terms of like mech shooters out there right now, it's a pretty decent complete package because it's got a bit of everything for everyone. If you just want to play single player, great. If you want to play with your friends, you've got multiplayer and co-op, and now you can get a taster for it and a feel for the game by playing it for free as well. So it's a pretty decent all-rounder, I would say.
Yeah, I'm happy they made it free now, because when we played it the first time, there was no one on there. So still, like, going for the freemium way is the best you can go for at this moment, because what they do is you can play the deathmatch for free. You can buy the PvP, the PvE mode if you want to, and you also get some skins with that, but you don't have to. It's up to you. But the deathmatch is free, so it's up to you if you want to spend some more money on the game. And then just Sorry,
I was gonna say, is it pay to win with that? Or...
No. It's just cosmetic. Yeah.
Not yet. I don't know if that's gonna happen later. Who knows? And then in Shard, I also played a Furious Seas. This is let's say a pirate VR simulator, and you can control a ship. You need to control the cannons. You need to do everything. You're like the captain, and you need to do all of it. It's funny though, you have a crew, but they are just not really helping you. So you're just like running around trying to grab the cannon and then the wheel. But it's fun. It has a storyline, so that's new. Like, we have seen pirate games before, but they were always very basic. And this one is like, okay, you need to find this guy, and you're like, yar yar yar, and he's just talking like, hey, we need to find him, and there are more ships coming, and it's nice. It's an early access. It's not like completely ready yet. Let's say if you want to support the developer in a very, very early stage, then you should do it. Otherwise, I would just wait and see if they got a roadmap ready to go, because at this moment, they don't say that much on Steam. They're like, in the future, we want to complete the single player and make the experience better. And I'm like, well, just tell us what you are going to bring out and when, because this sounds kind of cloudy,
Yeah.
But right now there isn't that much content on it. But I hope that this will become a full-fledged pirate game, because they are rare. You don't see that many.
What was the name of that one, Nathie?
Furious
Seas.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to say, out of all the pirate games that I've seen out there, in terms of VR ones, like the sea itself looks
very good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Graphically, the sea physics and mechanics look really nice.
Yeah, I just want to see a multiplayer, that's all, because it's still a single player, and I'm like, I just want Mike to run around on my ship cleaning the deck, and Rowdy just shooting the cannons, because Mike, you can't trust Mike with cannons, and then Zim can be the one that just
sits in the crow's nest.
Like my Gibbs, Zim is like my Gibbs. He's gonna tell me where I need to go.
Right.
That's my team right there.
Rowdy, is there any multiplayer game that you like? And you're like, I don't want people. Just get the people out of the game. I'm good.
Like VR for me is like a lot of ways. I like playing with people, like you guys, but I'm not the kind of person who's gonna go with some randoms on a ship and like try to figure stuff out. I don't like that. What I like, if the game has a solid single player campaign and I can escape from all the mess that I'm always in every day, that is for me like the coolest thing, that I get sucked into some kind of story, immersive story, role playing that or whatever. Like that's what I like. I like to be sucked into a story or a different kind of world, different from the one that I am, and then have some good time over there. Those are the things that I like. Yeah.
Like this is like, soon when the Oasis is a real thing, you go to like a mysterious forest that's like abandoned for years, and Rowdy's living there in his little hut, and
he's like a little hermit.
I want set.
We had a good time. I was going to ask you guys, how does it compare? Nathie, I guess if you're the only one who played it, because it's not multiplayer, How does it compare to like Rec Room? You know, the bit that we did with
To
that?
Rec Room?
And PD said, by the way, they're adding swashbuckling, which I understand by that is sword fighting.
Interesting.
Okay.
Because that was like the Rec Room was all about the sword fighting, right?
I loved
But
it.
this is just like controlling a ship at the helm and shooting the cannons either side. That's it. It's all,
You
it's all
and you have like bells on the
Yeah.
right and left that
And-
can make your ship go faster or slower.
Very
Exactly.
much a ship pirate game as
Exactly.
opposed to a pirate running
You-
around with the dodgiest swords man ever created.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I
That's-
think, maybe if we want to play together, like a pirate game, then Crooked Waters is also one that came out recently that we could maybe check out because that is a multiplayer one, and you can control different elements of the ship in that one.
But yes, I agree. In the end, a Sea of Thieves game in VR, like a mix of Rec Room and Furious Seas, etc. That's what we want. Yes. Yes,
Cool.
please.
Cool.
Or
so what about you,
Assassin's
Rowdy?
Creed in VR.
You want Assassin's Creed in VR? You just want to murder people?
I want to.
It's only because it's single player.
Oh, I see.
Watch
It's
boy.
only single player.
No, it's true. Of course, that's what I want.
To be honest, jumping
yeah,
in a pile of hay from like 6 floors up would be cool.
Awesome, definitely.
Yeah, that's true. That would be cool.
Haven't done it yet.
And just climbing stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
Dude,
you
that
can
works
smell
great in
it
VR.
with that thing, that device.
Oh my god. Okay, let's find out
What
what
I
Rowdy's
played.
playing this
What I
week.
played.
Yeah.
So I played Furious Seas as well, but since Nathie already covered it, I'm not going to talk about it too much. And I played a lot of Seeking Dawn. I really wanted to dive, since we talked about it last episode as well, I wanted to dive further in to see, what else was kind of like going on. I'm kind of like at a point now that I don't really feel like I really want to continue anymore, even though I didn't get to like the part that Zim said where like everything got like really light. So that, that it's a bit of a shame, like the game feels pretty buggy. Like after a certain stage, like I had like, I think in one video that I made, I have like 3 game-breaking bugs, like that really like, tore the game apart. I had one time that my left eye just stopped working. And the only thing I could do was kill myself, which was kind of horrible to do. And then the second one was that all of a sudden, all of the shaders in the game, like they turned black, like pitch black. I couldn't see a thing anymore, except all my enemies could still see me. So they started chasing me and murdered me as well.
The eye thing. Is it just like a blank out eye? I had that. Yeah. Okay, I had the same thing, even early in the game.
That's strange.
How did you solve it?
I fucking didn't. It went away
You
after
stopped
a
playing.
while. No. I literally just like I was playing and I just like closed my eye. I'm like, guys, I'm just gonna brute force this, and no one on stream could see it because I was casting my right eye, not my left eye. And then it flipped and it went to the other side.
Maybe,
and I was like, finally, you get to feel my pain. It was totally
maybe
weird.
you got shot in the eye by an enemy, and that's like what happens. They just like
maybe it's some kind of immersive feature that we're missing, like the point of. Like, but I was like sucking on those medical nanobots like the entire time, but they didn't seem to do anything. Like maybe that's why. Like you need to inject those in your bloodstream to be effective, but they haven't figured that out
You're
yet.
not supposed to drink it. You're supposed to douche your eye with it. That's the mistake you made.
Yeah. So maybe I'll still continue it later on. But at this point, I made like a couple of videos, and it kind of gets a bit. I mean, I don't like the crafting system. I don't like the grinding of like resources. The survival aspect is like non-existent for me. Like the only thing is it's like a trigger of food and water that like runs down, and that's it. Like, and then the guy keeps on saying every time that I'm in a firefight, like, hey, I'm thirsty. I'm like,
so annoying.
So
annoying.
So annoying.
Yeah.
But I mean,
says
the
Mike
game
as he
itself-
reaches for his water bottle.
Yeah. Up until this point, I mean, I still had fun with the game, but I'm now like I think 2 hours in, and the fun is like a little bit gone. Like it's not like I still kind of want to, because I'm a little bit of a completionist in terms of like story wise. I still want to what's going on with the story and how far the story goes, but at the same time it's not really. And also people have been saying it, because I've been talking in my Discord to people like asking like, what do you think of this? Should I continue with the series? And they were all a little bit like, yeah, it's getting like a little bit boring now. It's not really like the beginning was exciting. And in the ending, like the last episode, it started to get like a little bit boring. Like the only reason why they still watch this is because I give like funny commentary, and that's not good for a game. Like it needs to be a bit more than that.
What still blows my mind is the trailer. Like I watched the trailer a couple of times for the last few days, and I'm like, this is everything in this trailer isn't in the game. Like you could actually climb in the trailer. I see the guy grabbing plants going into a tree. I see slow motion. I see gun reloads that are the most epic thing ever.
Yeah.
The way
And
you
you
go
could
into
pick
your
stuff up with your
inventory as
hands.
well. Yeah, you
pick
could
stuff
like
up with your hands.
yeah, and that's what you said, like the survival part where you could, let's say, kill an enemy and then also grab its like limbs and things and then maybe cook them up and eat them. Like that's a survival game, but it's not in the game. So everything in the trailer that should have been in there is not there, and that's a shame. I mean, Mike and I made a long video about. We spent around 5-6 hours in the game.
Yeah.
As you said, like I also don't feel the vibe of this game, and that's something you can't really fix if the survival system isn't there and that crafting thing isn't there. Then this game is nothing new. It's nothing unique. That's what made the game unique.
It's like what PD is actually saying in the chat. Like Paradise Decay says, Seeking Dawn, I would prefer a shorter experience without the grind and the health prompts, which I think would indeed be a lot better if you just narrow down to the story aspect alone. Keep a multiplayer co-op, because I think that's a cool thing. It's one of the only games that are doing a co-op single-player game on PC at least. So I think that's a really cool thing. They would just remove like the survival aspect, the grinding, the cooking, the alien burgers. It doesn't fit with the alien burgers. Really trigger me. Like why am I like some kind of like some kind of like a high-profile soldier being sent to save a team, and I'm going to be cooking burgers on the freaking planet.
Yeah, it
First
doesn't make
burgers.
sense. You're right. Yeah,
Just it doesn't work.
A lot of stuff doesn't make sense. And like you say, a lot of that stuff they just added to the game to pad it out. And if they just removed all the padding, then it could have been something a bit more interesting. But you never know. They might update it, make it a better game. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely.
Who knows? But yeah, what about you, Zim? What have you been checking out this week?
More than I thought. I sit down and you like write the list out. I'll mention a few titles. So you mentioned Stifle. We mentioned Stifled before, so I checked that out. Which I got to a section where there's this little kind of blobby, almost alien child thing that's screaming at you and running after you in the dark, and I just decided, that's enough. So I put that to the side. Played Synth Riders, kind of an indie game, which again, by the soundtrack, you think, this is going to sound pretty good. It did. Didn't really like the game. I'd tell you more about it, but it really just left a kind of not the best taste in my mouth at the moment. I'll let him spend another 2 months on that. As you mentioned, I was reunited with my Go, so I had a lot of fun yesterday. Got to play, actually the Poker VR launched on PC 2 days ago for Rift, and that's them coming back again, because they used to be called Casino VR. They were out 2.5 years ago, really early days before the Rift even launched. And it's good to have them back. And so now they've got cross-platform across Gear VR, Go, and Rift now. So that is great. Being able to talk to people, overseas and get to know people, I find it's the best social experience that I have in VR at the moment. And then the two other things was this AR game that we'll be talking about, Walking Dead, and Moss. So I think before I've probably had a dissenting opinion on Moss.
I remember that.
I had played the demo on PSVR twice, and I was like, I'm really not convinced about this. So I gave it a go on PC, and the amount of detail that they pumped into the game in such a consistent artistic format throughout the first, I've played probably 3.5 hours of the game so far. Hugely convincing, to the point where it was like, for me, it was immediately, I was convinced. And I saw
the audio alone of it. The audio is so
everything.
Good.
The way they pieced the game together, they have polished this thing like a gem. And the first couple of hours was really good. I think the puzzle aspect to me is a little overstated in the game, in that I would almost have felt better if it was a bit easier going scene to scene. But obviously that would have taxed them on developing these stunning environments. But they use scale like so few VR games really take to bed. I mean, you look up and it's the proper forest, and it's not just like generic forest background. They've taken time to craft it. So if you haven't had the chance, I'd say, and I would isolate my feedback to PC VR. Moss on PC VR, absolutely do it. Find time to play that game. It's very good. I
totally agree. You must be so close to the end now, because I finished it in one playthrough session. I think it took me about 3.5 hours. So you must have been really exploring, but you'll be close to the end. I would say
it's just slow.
But the end is kind of satisfying in a way. It does have a nice payoff, I think, in my mind.
I'm so happy that Moss is like the flagship of like third-person titles.
Yeah,
I felt like Lucky Still was trying to like pave the road for that whole genre, but now we're getting there where more people accept it and they're like, it's actually good. Like a third-person game is like going back. Like it always feels like you're going back to the old school days where you're just sitting there with your gamepad playing the game, and you're like,
great.
it's so nice. I love it.
But the way that they meld the gamepad workings with touch controls, like you actually get involved. And I like the way they play between the characters. It's not too much. And to me, it's the only other game that I would say is on par with it, sonically, visually, story-wise, is probably Chronos, which is just the only thing that I have to say about Chronos is that Chronos is so feckin' long.
Yeah.
I put so many hours into it. It's so tough. I actually couldn't finish it, even though I wanted to. I was literally beating my audience to death with Chronos. And I was like, I just can't do this anymore, guys. So if you're interested in single player titles and you want to sink hours in between kind of Chronos, Edge of Nowhere, Moss, I mean, there's loads there for you.
Yeah, Moss for definite. Highly recommend that one. So this week I played a different game, sort of very unknown sort of game. It only came out this week, called Naked Sun. Now, it kind of dropped on Steam, and it's available for the Rift and the Vive. And it's the first VR title they've ever made, a London-based studio called Door Z Studio. So I thought I'd just like hop in, check it out. And it's basically an on-rails arcade shooter. So the kind of story is very basic. Bad AI is taking over the world, killing off all the humans. You're an android sent on a secret mission to infiltrate the base and take down the AI mothership and save the humans, basically. And it's kind of cool, like a little story narrative. Like they talk to you through like a little microphone, delivering you like mission updates throughout the whole game, using code names and stuff like that. It is a bit cheesy. Like there's a woman in there. She's like, "Oh, you're so good. I want to marry you." So it does get a bit cheesy in there. But it was enough to keep me kind of intrigued as to where this was all going. And I ended up actually just playing it right to the very end in my first playthrough, but it was only like an hour long. So I just kind of got drawn into it. It's kind of very sort of basic arcade shooter, basically. The first part of it, you're on a train, then the next level, you're on like an elevator, and then you're on a train again. So you're constantly moving through levels, but just shooting enemies as you kind of traverse through them. But it's very slow, so it's not particularly motion sick inducing. But the gunplay.
What's the motion, Mike? Like, what are you moving your character? Or are you
No. You stand static, and you're standing on a train that's moving through the environment, and you're shooting enemies as you travel through it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like on rails kind of shooter. But the gunplay and the gun physics, they're very nice. You've got two modes, a single fire mode and an auto mode. And when you switch them, your gun transforms in a really cool, satisfying way. But unfortunately, it was only 3 levels long, which only took me about an hour to get to the end of the game. And then it did this thing where it's like, to be continued. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me that a game is doing this again? Like, this is the second game in 2 consecutive weeks that has done this to me.
How is it called?
18 Floors. So 18 Floors, the game that only has...
Naked Sun, right?
Yeah, so 18 Floors was the one I played last week, puzzle game, only has 2 floors. And then you've got Naked Sun, which only has 3 levels and is only an hour's worth of gameplay, but again, doesn't state that anywhere in the game's description. Yeah. So again, it's one that... I can't recommend. Again, it's kind of like, I don't want to become this guy that's always the one that's going like, this is really annoying.
It happens.
It just kind of feels like
it's the season. It's the season.
Yeah.
Didn't something happen with 18 Floors that they changed their description now? That
because
it contains 2 floors.
Yeah, I contacted Oculus about it because I said that this was super misleading for consumers, and then within an hour they had changed the description on both Steam and Oculus. So Oculus had obviously got in contact with them and said, they're right because it's completely true. And then we got an update from the developers of 18 Floors saying that the next 2 floors will be available in Q4 of this year. And I was like, okay, so at this rate of update, we're not going to finish this game in like till 2040 or something ridiculous like that. So it's crazy. But yeah, Naked Sun, it's stupid arcade fun, very basic. I did get drawn into it a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend it now because the game isn't finished. That's pretty much my summary.
Also, the sun is naked anyway, right?
Don't look at the sun. Yeah.
Where does the Naked Sun come into this? I'm kind of curious.
I have no idea, to be honest.
I hope that it's sun with a U.
Oh God! Oh God! Rowdy.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Rowdy just crossed the line.
Okay.
An invisible line. Okay, swiftly moving on. Let's talk about some quick news. So first up, we're going to be talking about Echo Combat. Echo Combat, if you didn't pick it up and check it out on the open beta weekend a little while ago, you'll be pleased to know they've opened the beta up again this weekend. So it started off yesterday, which was the 20th of July, and is running until tomorrow, the 22nd of July. If you're going to miss it this weekend, though, don't worry. The devs said that they're going to be doing these open beta weekends regularly up until the game's release. We don't know when it's going to be released just yet, but from what I understand, people have been jumping into it and having a lot of fun. I haven't personally checked it out myself. I don't know if any of you guys have had the opportunity to do that. No, none of us really like because none of us are really like real competitively driven players, right? We all kind of a bit like Rowdy like to stay in our own Smeagol caves and play single player games. But from what I hear, a lot of people say it's very good. If you like that kind of thing and that's your bag, you know, it's kind of similar sort of movement, sort of team based thing as Echo Arena, but this time you've got guns and you have to deliver a payload to the enemy sort of area, a bit like in Overwatch.
In the chat that it's pretty awesome though. Apache and says that it's awesome, and Paradise Decay also really wants to try it. And Apache also says that we should still try it even though you're not competitive, because it has a very nice co-op as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. Like the community around these games is so great. You know, they're so welcoming. Tend to show like newcomers the ropes and stuff like that as well. So we should try and jump in at some point.
I'm curious about your guys' opinion on this, because I haven't really kind of watched each of you closely enough to determine if you cover this kind of competitive game. Like, aside from your personal likes and dislikes, do you find, because I find for competitive games like this one, generally they're not great for an audience, because like you'll watch it for like 15 minutes, you get the gist of it, and then it's super repetitive.
It depends on how good you are.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, like
and I was going to say,
right?
you know, if you're like the Lonely Viper and you're like a ninja at these games, then of course it's entertaining to watch because they're so good at the game. It's a bit like watching Ninja play Fortnite. He's just so freaking good at the game. It's entertaining to watch.
I've seen lately that Viper has made like a video where he was like catching the grenades that people threw at him just to throw them back. Like if I try that, you know, the only thing that you get is like me blowing up, you know. It really depends on how good you are.
It also depends on what channel you run, right? Like I run a VR channel where we review games, experiences, and apps. So I just play this once. I make a video about it, maybe twice where there's an update, and that's it. So I don't have time to also get really good at a game because I already need to go to the next one to review. So it's kind of hard to like catch up with the rest in that sense.
Absolutely. But if you're interested in this game, like I say, you know, you can go and check it out for free this weekend. So yeah, enjoy it while it lasts, and then until the next open beta in a couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
So next bit of quick news, Resident Evil 2 remake. So it was announced at E3 this year that the Resident Evil 2 game will be completely remade. Now, it's not going to be like a pretty reskin like the original Resident Evil remastered game, because that was just a reskin of the original game. This is completely being remade from the ground up, but using the same story. And I was really chuffed about this because Resident Evil 2 kind of holds like a little sort of special place in my heart, because it was the first game I ever bought using my own money that I'd worked for. You know, it was the summer of 1998, and I remember it dearly. And I've been spending all my money that I've hard-earned cash on games ever since then. So it's kind of like the one that started it all. So
it sounds like you made a song about it as well, like, you know, the summer of 1998.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were, Mike, I was curious about this because I knew we had this up, but like, have you before VR gotten into horror games? I mean, obviously, Mike, your answer is yes, you've done Resident Evil, but like for me, VR and horror was like one thing. I didn't play horror games before VR.
I was into it before, so I played like all the Silent Hill games, played all the Resident Evil games. Yeah,
I hate it. I hate playing. I love watching horror movies. Like, I really like watching horror movies. Like, the scarier, the better. But as soon as I need to, even like on a 2D screen, like, it like freaks me out. Like, I get always too attached to those kind of things. Like, you know, like I get too much into it. I guess.
It's great. Like, I love third-person horror games. Like, I recently finished The Evil Within 2. It's really nice. Like the way you just go through it. It feels like a movie usually, like the horror games. And I was very excited for Resident Evil 2 as well, like the remake. It looks so nice, and I still am. Like, I want to play this even on a pancake monitor. For sure. I think Mike is to break the news a bit here, but
so that's the thing, because like, you know, I thought the game being remade, you know, Resident Evil 7 doing so well for PSVR, I thought maybe there's an opportunity here to make this one in VR as well for PSVR. Yeah. But unfortunately, in an interview with the Daily Star here in the UK, Capcom producer Sayushi Kanda basically explained, we're not thinking about VR currently. Given that the camera perspective is over the shoulder would mean that VR is not best suited to present the game. And he said that VR doesn't match the vision for us. So unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing a VR version of Resident Evil 2 Remake. But if you do want to see some Resident Evil 2 content in VR, you can, because there was a dude from the community called Crying Horn. He basically recreated the whole lobby area of the Raccoon City Police Department in the Unreal 4 engine. And if you go over to his YouTube channel, Crying Horn, you'll see all his levels that he's built, and you can download them for free and check them out yourself. And I think me and Nathie both did a video on it, actually. I think.
Yeah. So is there any news on this game being a first-person title too? So you can switch to first-person? Because Evil Within, for example, was a game that you could only play in third-person for a while. And then later on, they added a first-person. If that's going to happen, then you could say, like, hey, let me just turn on Firebags, and bam, you just make it a VR game yourself.
Yeah, I think they're sticking with a third-person over-the-shoulder view, kind of with that cinematic kind of vibe. A bit like, what was it, Dead Space? You know, that kind of feeling of like claustrophobia and fear, which kind of works very well for that genre. But I
have to agree with their decision though, because I think over-the-shoulder in VR, when I've seen it done, and only very few things, it's not worked great. The one that I remember is probably From Other Suns, which is better played first person, but you can kind of play it in that weird ghosty mode where the character's walking in front of you, and to a degree you get
it's like your soul's leaving your body and walking on.
It's just so effectively weird. They thought it was revolutionary, but any other over-the-shoulder games that you guys can remember from VR Library?
Over the shoulder.
Was Overkill
rare?
Was Overkill one?
No.
Yeah, the military one.
No, that wasn't it.
Kind of a little bit like Gears of War. No.
What about the ape game?
Planet of the Apes?
Was that was a little bit like that?
That was, you saw your furry arms, didn't you? It was like first person view.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, but there were places where you'd like climb or walk or something, and then again you ghost your body. But I'm actually behind it. So if they want to make it a 2D game, go ahead. I'm really curious though if any indie studio has played this over the shoulder thing. I wonder if
it is interesting. Yes. Like it's not that they explored enough of that just yet. I haven't seen many people really, but it's kind of tricky to make your whole game around that. That's for sure. If they just add it as an extra that you can turn on, then fair. But don't.
I actually don't know if it'll work that they'll turn it into a first-person game, because with a lot of those Resident Evil games, a lot of the stuff was also not rendered behind kind of stuff. Because I know that I watched that one channel where they completely break the game, and they get like those floating cameras to see like what's behind the walls and like where this kind of person's come from. It's really awesome to see. And with Resident Evil, a lot of this stuff like pops in and like it's actually hidden behind the wall
where
like,
it goes up.
So I don't know if that's actually something that is even, maybe they have to rebuild the entire game if they go from over the shoulder to a first person view. So
it's a shame, but I'm looking forward to the game nevertheless. But it is a shame. So, so now this is where everyone's going to get triggered, and the audience is going to get triggered. You're going to get triggered. You guys get excited every time I mention this company on this show. So we're going to be talking about Valve and the information about Valve being at Gamescom.
Ooh, Gamescom.
Oh my God. So
I'm going there.
Yeah.
Like, I can check out the games. Like,
you're gonna play Half-Life 3? You're gonna play it?
Like Zim.
It's gonna be released.
Give me any advice on which of the 3 games I should play first?
Did anyone see? Did anyone see the Twitter post that
Left 4 Dead, right? That's the one.
You're gonna have to remind me. You're gonna have to remind me.
So we had an episode where we were talking about these games. Everyone was losing their minds. It was like a bull in a china shop. Like everyone was going crazy.
All I remember was just black rage, and then I remember some awful like puzzle game or something. What was it? What do we know from that they communicated already that was going to be a VR game?
So basically, it's kind of a bit of a ruse, because although Valve are going to be at Gamescom, they're not going to be at Gamescom. So, and I'll explain why. So I did a bit of research about this because I was like, I need to know more. And there was a guy that's got a YouTube channel called Valve News Network. Now, you have to kind of take this guy's information with a pinch of salt as well, because we don't know if he's a reliable source, but he's got a very sort of legit channel that focuses on Valve news, and he's been going for a long time. He's got a big subscriber, big audience, so I think he's fairly trustworthy. But according to him in his video, it's not Valve that are attending, and like as in like Lord Gaben himself presenting himself there and blessing us with a new title and giving us the peasants what we want. No, it's not going to happen. I think what's actually going to happen is Valve GmbH will be in attendance, which is a European subsidiary of Valve, and they deal with like the tax, the financial stuff, security, and legal stuff. Yeah, and basically, we even know right now that they're going to be located in Hall 3.2, which is a private business-only hall. And that's basically where they just do these like meetings, networkings with developers to sort of talk about like posting the game on Steam.
Guess who has tickets for that?
Okay.
It's me.
But this is the thing, you're not going to learn anything new.
No, but I need to Mike, can I like borrow your letter so I can just put it against like their business booth, so I can just look over it and see what they're doing? We can live stream that. Like I'm gonna be your like reporter on the show floor.
Yeah, sure. I look forward to it. They'll be like, yeah, what do you want to know? I'm like the legal department of Valve.
I just had an epiphany here, guys. Now just hold with me here a second, right? Half-Life. You guys all know Half-Life. You know the characters in Half-Life. Look at Nathie for a moment, okay? Rowdy, let's get in big screen. All right, look at Nathie for a moment. Age him like 50 years.
His head crap.
He's going to turn into the G-Man.
The G-Man. He's the G-Man. Confirmed.
Mr. Freeman.
So man in the wrong place makes all the difference.
Oh, I love those quotes.
They've been going. Apparently, the Valve GmbH have been going to Gamescom like every year.
Oh, okay.
Recently,
and now it's suddenly news.
Yeah. So someone's triggering everyone somewhere. But let's put it this way: the last time Valve attended an event and announced a game was CS:GO. So it's been a full friggin' while.
CS:GO? Yeah. How long is that? Like
a long time ago.
I remember the trailer for CS:GO landing. My God,
that was before Mike bought his Resident Evil game. Imagine.
Could be around that sort of time. Could be. So, you can either ignore what this guy's saying and have your own beliefs and still pray for Half-Life 3, or you can...
You're just, like, triggering everyone, and then you're like, I don't know, but...
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knows for sure?
Chat has said V-Man. They have also said he's got a 3 on his shirt. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Of course.
Chat is lit up.
You see?
Yeah, of course.
I got it.
Yeah. Oh, we got 700 viewers now. I'm joking.
Okay, so let's move on to our main topic, and we've got an exciting one to talk about first, and that is the future of the VR Inside podcast. So we actually touched on this at the end of last week's show, but we're ready to talk about it in full detail now. And for the past 6 months, we've actually been working behind the scenes on something new and different so we can sort of evolve the show. If you're a regular of the show or you follow us individually, you know, we've always hosted the show on Nathie's YouTube channel. And then on a Sunday, I always re-upload the show on my own YouTube channel. So that's kind of how it's worked since it began, which is about 9 months ago now. Now, the whole show has kind of been a test, right? It's always been a test all along. You know, we never knew this was going to take off the way it did or be a success or be something we wanted to continue. It was always just to see what people think of it and if people like it. So the test is kind of over now. You know, it's been 9 months. People like it. We still enjoy doing it. We've got the dedication to turn up every week, and we love, you know, chatting and having fun and just delivering news to you guys and girls and just kind of doing it in a fun way in our own sort of style. So what we've been working on behind the scenes is a rebrand. You know, we want to take this show to the next level. And to do that, we need to break free of a specific channel. So we want to break free from Nathie's channel. We want to break free from my own channel. So we're going to be moving to the show to its own dedicated YouTube channel. But it's also going to be under a different name, right? So we're going to be calling the show from here on out, well, from the 11th of August, it's going to be called F.reality. So that is the new show name. So you can find a link in the description right now to our new F.reality YouTube channel. There is nothing there right now. There is no subscribers. It is literally 0. We are starting from scratch. And if you go over there and subscribe, turn on notifications, in 3 weeks' time, on the 11th of August, we'll be starting the brand new show there. So it will stop being uploaded to my channel. It will stop streaming on Nathie's channel, and we'll continue to stream on the new F.reality YouTube channel from there. Yes. So the other exciting thing is that, you know, from your perspective, nothing will change. The format will still be the same. We'll still live stream it. The live stream will be up for a little while longer, then we'll take it down. Then we'll re-upload it with the better audio source, so you'll get the freshest and best version of the show. And then audio listeners as well, you won't have to do anything. If you're subscribed to the podcast on iTunes or any of the sort of podcast audio platforms, you won't have to do anything. Then you'll just notice that the name changes on the 11th of August to F.reality, and the numbers will still continue the way we've done it so far. So
we got our first subscriber.
Yay!
Nice one.
So yeah, there we have it. We've kind of been working on this behind the scenes for such a long time now. It feels so nice to kind of tell everyone about it.
Very good.
We've been working a lot on this though, like really like
so much. So much.
My
so
days.
Much. You have no
like,
idea.
Even like, let's say, coming up with a name is already like one challenge you need to face. And F.reality is seriously the best we could go for. This is something we have been like discussing for at least 2 months. Like this name.
The name alone, yeah.
It was so much 4 months. I think it was 4 months.
It was probably 4 months. Yeah, it probably was. Yeah. So
but we have a lot of exciting stuff to share though. Like there's gonna be a lot of things that are gonna come our way.
For sure. Like the show is very polished, I think, as it is now. I think we've got to a level where we're happy with it, but it's going to be taking it to the next level. We're going to have some really cool stuff to show you, put it that way. Yeah.
It's like mind-blowing that we have been doing this for like 9 months, because it doesn't feel like that at all. And it's just funny how much we have covered and how we have changed as well. If you look at the first few podcasts, Mike still had hair here. For some reason, and now it's all gone.
Well, if you watch the first episodes, it's funny because we watched it back the other day. I don't have a beard, but Rowdy has a beard. It's weird.
We switched. I gave it to you. Send it through email.
Send it for the post.
But also just the way we came up with this whole thing. I can remember that I had an idea to do a podcast, and then I said like, listen, Mike, I want you to be the host, and like it wasn't like the let's say back then the best person to go for. I was like, I just want to challenge Mike, and now like you're one of the best hosts we could ever wish for. So I mean, like the way everything transformed, like definitely. I mean the way we are now discussing topics is so different than we did before. You know,
for sure.
It makes more sense. We know each other better. We control each other more now because we know each other way too good, I think. I am like personally, I am so pumped for not only just the name F.reality, but everything that will like be linked to that name and what we're gonna do with it.
Actually, it's nice to like establish like a brand with such a cool name. I really like that.
F.reality is such a cool name. We've deliberated on for such a long time. Yeah. You know, we've secured all the sites, with that name as well. So, we can brand it that way. And we've got a website as well, so you can go and check that out now. Yeah. It's www.f.reality.tv. And maybe you can have a little explore, put it that way.
Yeah, so the links are all in the description. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do that by just going to the description, or like someone will post it in the chat again in case someone missed it out. But stay tuned. That's all we can say for now. It's just funny that last week I kind of made it already like a little mysterious. And then I was like, okay, what is going on? I almost exposed this whole.
Yeah, you did.
I just want to rewind to Mike's face, because his face was like, you could see him go like that, a little bit flush, and he was like, "Oh shit, am I allowed to say this? Did I say this now? I don't think I can say this now."
I think that was the thing. Like, we've been working on it for such a long time, and the reveal was going to be like so important. And then like when it was like, "Oh, should we do it now?" I had no preparation for it whatsoever. I was like, "Oh my god, this isn't the right time." But yeah, we are super proud of it. We're super pleased to relaunch it. I think it's a cool name, and I'm sure you guys and girls will really enjoy it as well.
Be sure to turn on the notifications as well. Like everyone, since we probably when is the official date now that we mentioned?
Official date.
So the official date will be the 11th of August. Will be our first live stream from the new account. So we've got a few more episodes to go yet, but we'll keep reminding you guys in the episodes. So we've got a little subscriber base. Otherwise, we'll live stream on the first episode and no one will be there.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. Absolutely.
Spread the word.
So that's our big news. So let's move on to our next topic, and that is The Walking Dead VR. So the team at Skydance Interactive, the same team that brought you Archangel Hellfire, just announced at Comic-Con this week that their new VR project is going to be called The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Now, the game will take place in New Orleans, and according to the developers, the walkers will be the least of the players' problems. That kind of sounds exciting because that will follow the same format of the show, right?
Yeah,
because the show it's always been a great show, and it's always been the interactions with other humans that have caused the group the biggest amount of problems.
The zombies don't really matter that much anymore in the show. That's the cool thing
exactly.
about it.
Yeah,
The zombies got like less and less interesting. Like nowadays, it's like, oh,
absolutely.
you just kill another zombie. Who cares? You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's the interaction with the other people in the
yes.
world, because like in that kind of lawless state, it's all about dog eat dog. The dog with the biggest teeth wins basically, and it's kind of interesting to see how that sort of unfolds. But this is kind of the game that they're sort of pitching to us, and they're saying that basically it puts you in the shoes of a survivor. And the only thing we know so far is that they've teased like this bloody axe with some hair and blood all over it, and it's basically a fireman's axe. So what they're sort of hinting at here, that you can sort of take everyday objects and use them as weapons. So there'll likely be a lot of melee combat, which is kind of interesting. But also from the name as well, Saint or Sinners. Obviously, the New Orleans Saints. If you follow sports, you'll know who they are. But you can choose to be a saint or a sinner in this game. So if you want to be like a Rick Grimes type character, go and save people and rescue them from zombie sort of apocalypse, then great. You can build a little sort of camp of people. Or you could just be a complete bastard like Negan, for example, and take Lucille around and start bashing people's skulls in. So you can kind of play it the way you want to play it. So it
it actually harkens me back to like DayZ, back when you could be a bandit. Or a good guy, and your character would kind of match that. I love the premise of this. Huge into zombie stuff. I still, like, years later, after we went through so much fucking zombie stuff, I still want more. And who has a better name than Walking Dead? Right now.
Absolutely. And we've previously just talked about Skydance Interactive. They've got a pedigree in movies and good content anyway. And Archangel turned out to be a pretty good all rounder in the end. So I'm confident that they could probably deliver a decent Walking Dead game, and they have been working on it for some time apparently. We don't have any footage to show you because they haven't got a trailer or anything yet. They literally just announced it, but it will be available in 2019, and I'm sure probably at Oculus Connect 5 they'll be revealing some sort of trailer or something for the game.
So this will, because I've seen more Walking Dead games before. Some of them were very good, some of them were very bad.
Yes.
This will be a title that they want to promote with the new season of The Walking Dead, I think, right?
Quite possibly, but you're right in that there's many different Walking Dead games out there. There's like the Telltale one, which is like story driven.
Yeah.
There's the new one that's coming out on Xbox and PlayStation, which again looks very cool indeed. Yeah. And then you've got this VR one as well. So they're definitely pushing it out. And then we're also going to talk quickly about the AR game, because some of us have been playing that this week as well, right?
Did you guys watch the show as well? Like, did you follow it a bit? Or... I did feel like it kind of felt a little, shallow after a while, because with series that are super popular, they go on forever, and after a while it's like I'm just watching dialogue, and that's all I'm getting now. But I don't know what you guys think of the show.
I think I watched the first 3 seasons.
Yeah, same.
And then afterwards I kind of like hooked off.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like it, but I think it's one of those series that kind of like has strengths and weaknesses as you go along the series. Gotten to the latest episode now. I think we're into season 5 or something. So
yeah, it's been going.
I really like the third season though.
I think I've gotten that far. So, but the beginning is great. Like, I mean, if you don't know Walking Dead, I'd say do watch it. It's definitely worth doing.
For me, it was like the first season, like the first couple of episodes I really liked, and then it kind of like went a bit downhill. And then the second season didn't really like that much, but the third season really picked up the pace for me. Like that, I really liked that one. And after that, even though I didn't really watch it after that anymore, I think I watched like the first 2 episodes of season 4, and I was like, not really my kind of thing.
I just wonder if this new game will be open world, because I still feel like if you make a Walking Dead game, it needs to be open world. I don't feel a VR game that is point to point. I just don't. I think Walking Dead, that's what it's all about. It's like roaming. It's like checking every place out and meet new people and dangerous people, and you know what I mean?
As long as they do, as long as if it's a survival game, as long as they don't say I'm thirsty every 30 seconds, then I'll be happy. Put it that way.
30 seconds was 10 seconds, even worse.
It was. Yeah, it was.
30 seconds is okay. If they do 30 seconds, I'm fine. So I don't have to mute my game and listen to ABBA the entire playthrough. Okay.
Yeah,
I agree with what Nathie's saying, though. I mean, if you're going to do a proper zombie survival game, I mean, I'm looking straight at Dean Hall for this one. first off, you need to have, zombies in number. You can't just have 8 zombies and consider that to be a zombie breakout horror survival game. But the survival aspect, you need the thing I loved about DayZ, and I hope they bring to any game like this. It's got to be gritty, and you've got to die. There's got to be. There used to be this death counter with DayZ in the mod days, and it was great. People were not, on average, living past 30 minutes, and I want a game to do that again.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to wait until Oculus Connect 5, I think, until we see any more details about this one. But let's quickly touch on The Walking Dead AR, because The Walking Dead Our World launched last week as well. It's an app for mobile, so you can download it on Apple and Android phones. And it's like Pokemon Go, but with zombies. And I've been checking it out this week. You've been checking it out this week as well, Zim. I think for me, it's kind of a bit meh. I can't say that I was way more excited about Pokemon Go, put it that way. I think the gameplay loop of just shooting zombies is kind of boring, and the rewards are a bit lackluster to keep me coming back. The only good thing that I've seen so far is that you can clan up straight away with like your local community members, and they all contribute to like goals together. And this group that I'm part of have just been like killing it. So I'm just getting like tons of stuff just from them playing the game right now.
So you can just join and not do anything, not contribute.
Pretty much. But yeah, it's not as interesting in my mind as Pokemon Go is. I don't know if you feel the same way about it.
For me, actually, AR games they've got this behemoth, this giant, which is Pokemon Go really kills it with the formula. The thing I think that Pokemon Go does very well is that you say more with less. Like their screen real estate is not cluttered in Pokemon Go, and they've actually got a lot crammed into the interface, loads of characters you can find, all that kind of stuff. So the reinvigoration of Pokemon Go recently with content updates in the last kind of 6 months have been really good. I've been playing loads of Pokemon Go, and then playing this game, the Jurassic game. They're kind of, they're not meeting the same mark of excitement. I don't find myself wanting to play those games instead of Pokemon Go. I do think, however, there's one major benefit of hopping to a different AR game, and that's, is there a supply drop near where I live? And if you live kind of outside of a major populated area, that can be one of the most frustrating points. You're like, I'm literally crippled in this game because of where I choose to live. That's not going to change. And I do find that between those 3 games, they have different pickup points or different kind of resupply points. So
are these pickup points like monumental things, like famous places, or
sometimes.
Like Pokemon Go?
Sometimes.
Yeah, not always. So I find Pokemon Go, yes, there's usually geotagged locations because it came off of the Niantic data of whatever that game was, the predecessor to Pokemon Go. Anyone remember it?
Ingress.
Extra points.
That really hurt my head.
But I found Jurassic and Walking Dead, and I'm sure they're doing this intentionally.
Yeah.
They have more supply drops, pickup points that are not coinciding or coalescing with Pokemon Go, which gives it a slight advantage territorially.
Yeah. It seems like The Walking Dead is powered by Google Maps. It seems.
The thing that always bothers me with these kind of experience, because I've been showing the trailer for here as well, like, it looks freaking amazing if you watch that trailer. You have people like using all the things, like, it's completely into your world and that kind of stuff. But that's not how it is. That's not how it is at all. Like, I wish it was like that.
Like this, like.
Yeah, but also
like that.
I mean, do you see, for example, all because they go into a supermarket that, like, the supermarket has like cans on the floor and, like, everything is like up. Like,
but that's more like AR with glasses. Well, that's what it is.
The AR isn't bad, but you have to have a very specific environment to kind of take advantage of the AR zombies walking on the floor. And the thing that I found that the app doesn't do a very good job of is matching the floor to where the zombies are actually standing. So a lot of times I found with this app, you're fighting floating zombies.
But is that the only thing that is AR, the zombies, or is there also like stuff laying on the floors? Is there weapons? Is there like cans like they're showing in the trailer?
And you have to enable it. Actually, and that's the thing I didn't like, was every time you have to say, okay, put AR mode on, and then it kind of calculates the scene and it spawns them in. But the next time you do it, same thing again. You have to push the little make it AR.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
So according to Chad, it's cool. You can put down buildings like safe houses, warehouses, armories, and dump off survivors, and others can dump survivors too. And then we have another one from Hidden Realm saying, I feel like pickles play a huge role in this. Pickles are green and juicy. And when you say Walking Dead, I think of zombies, which are also green and juicy. The only difference is that I like pickles.
I like this guy.
Awesome
He's on our
comment.
level.
Yeah.
Yes,
He's on our level.
You can join next time as well. You know,
Yeah.
you can also be a part of the f.reality podcast.
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah. So in to list them, what would you say in order of preference? Pokemon Go, Jurassic World, and this zombie one, Walking Dead. What would you say is him?
In that order, Pokemon Go first, Jurassic second, and
yeah. And I take it Jurassic World purely on the basis that the dinosaurs look really huge and they're kind of cool to look at.
Fucking awesome. Yeah, that, and they do shadows really well in that. But I have to say, you're missing a game that I have to keep promoting because I love it and it's great multiplayer. Is Smash Tanks. Right. I really enjoy Smash Tanks. So in that slot, I'd go Pokemon Go, Smash Tanks, and then the others.
So next to Smash Tanks, dinosaurs, zombies, and Pokemons, what should we play next in AR?
Harry Potter. That's the one my wife is looking forward to the most. Yeah, yes, Wizards Unite. You know, that's the next big one. I think we'll get everyone clustering around, sort of looking for Hermione and Ron and everyone else. Scabbers.
There's a big question here, though, and I think the answer is no. Are there any AR glasses that you can use as a replacement for your phone right now?
No. Yeah. And that's what we need for it to be a huge success, I think. And the glasses need to be so discreet that you don't know that they're AR glasses.
I don't fucking care. They can be a bit clunky and nerdy. I don't mind. I will wear them.
Sim just said that the zombies are still floating.
Yeah.
They are?
Okay, so let's move on from zombies, weird zombies, to the virtual link. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning. You can't jack yourself into the Matrix. I was just
jacking in.
Jacking in. But this is a kind of interesting new sort of reveal from the industry as a collaboration, kind of a consortium they call it. Because this first generation of VR headsets, they all kind of have a similar problem in that you need a load of different cables. You need power, you need USB, HDMI, then you need sensor cables. It kind of takes a lot of work and effort to make it look sleek and not like a rat's nest of just wires. And, I've been using the TP cast for a little while for that reason alone. I think a lot of people are interested in the Vive official wireless module that's coming soon as well, so they can be tetherless and get rid of some of these cables. But the VR industry and the graphics card manufacturers, they all know this, so they all got together. And on a previous episode of the show, we sort of said, there was this rumor that the next generation of NVIDIA cards would have this like proprietary VR connector. And we were kind of like, that's kind of a cool idea, but everyone would need to be on board to get this to work. Turns out that's exactly what happened. They all had a big meet up and they all got together, had some sort of chips and a little dinner and some cocktails, and they all agreed on one standard, which is pretty incredible, right? Because, it was AMD, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Oculus, HTC, all got together, one big happy family, and they all agreed on a single USB-C style connector.
Nice story, Mike, by the way. That was
like that?
So well articulated.
It's like very peaceful.
It's like I was almost there, It was like I was there.
Were there pickles?
But they were all pickles. The virtual link. So like I say, it's a single USB-C style connector. So you get rid of everything else. It's just down to one single cable now, which is awesome. And apparently this single cable will support up to 4 high-speed DisplayPort lanes. So up to 4 DisplayPort lanes in a single cable, a USB 3.1 data channel for supporting high-resolution cameras and sensors, and up to 27 watts of power. And apparently, to give it its sort of real terms, this can support 4K at 120 hertz. So this can support a 4K VR headset at 120 frames per second, which is awesome over a single cable. Yeah.
Well, the
so if you combine like multiple cables together, then we can go up to like 40K.
Oh my god! You want to go even further already?
Headset with just like cables coming in from
cables coming out like 40K.
Yeah.
So will this all mean that the headsets we have now will be so it will be the new generation that will
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be backwards compatible, so you're stuck with it the way it is right now. But future headsets, they've all agreed that they will use this connector. The graphics card will have a connector that's the same, so you won't be taking up all these other ports on your machine, which has been a problem because, USB expansion cards and stuff like that, we've all had to deal with these issues with multiple sensors and stuff. And I think it's like, although it seems kind of a little bit insignificant, it's a really important step, I think, for the industry
definitely.
because they've agreed on an open standard that everyone's going to use the same standard, which is great. It's going to increase the ease of setup. One single cable, plug in, job done, and future proofing, and also bring in VR to more devices and smaller form factor devices as well. So like laptops and stuff like that.
There's one company who's laughing diabolically right now and looking to undermine this, and that's Apple.
Of course. Apple just come in and do their own freaking thing like they always do. But let's be clear about it. Like Apple's sort of stamp in VR right now, they're really struggling. Like it was only like last week that they've announced these external exclosures for a Mac or a MacBook Pro that you can plug in via Thunderbolt, and now you can run a Vive or whatever from a Mac. But you kind of need an OP Mac or this external enclosure with a graphics card in it. So I don't think the competition from them will be anytime soon, but you're probably right, they will probably have their own connection.
Plus Apple is not about gaming, by the way. It will be something else, but I'm not gonna go too deep into this Apple thing, but I'm very happy that they agreed on this. I'm surprised about some companies like being on board with this whole thing, and I did notice already that it started to change a bit, where the Vive Pro started to use a display
port. Yeah.
And then you have HDMI on the Rift, and then it starts to get like a little cluster frick. And that's an insider. But that's what Zim always says, a frick.
All the time.
I'm so happy that this will be like an all-round thing, and it's good. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in this meeting, get some little nibbles on the table there. Everyone's talking nicely and friendly, I'd love to just see it all go down. It must have been a blast, but I don't
Mike thinks about this meeting as like a rainbow thing,
I just want to be a part of it.
I want to ask you all a question because I love dividing us. It's a great asset that we have. USB-C, for or against as a standard?
I kind of like it.
For.
I kind of like it. I use it for GoPro, Nintendo Switch, and the new Lenovo Mirage camera, which I'll be talking about very shortly.
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
I
don't like the look of it. I don't like how it connects. I love USB 2 and 3 and all that. I love USB.
It's easy. Like you don't need to turn it around anymore. You don't need to check it.
No, like PC, like for me, PC is not USB-C.
Because Zim, whenever you do a little cheeky reach around of your PC, you're trying to get that in there. It never goes in the right way.
That is true. Like USBs, I'm also not a big fan of USBs. And funny enough, if you check out your USBs, it's just on there. You can just see how you need to put it in, but for some reason it never fits.
Never works.
And then you turn it around and you're like, no, it still doesn't fit. Like I sometimes have moments, even with SD cards too. I'm just turning them around. I'm like, well, this fits.
That is why USB-C is so beautiful.
Yeah, I wish I liked it. Yeah, I know. I just
you won't have a choice in future.
I know.
Well, like it anyway.
I will have to.
Yeah, why are you asking us then? Like if it doesn't.
Well,
I'm
telling on something that I need to accept anyway, so I'm just accept it.
So yeah, I think it's great. So let's move on to
okay.
VR180.
High five, Mike. High five. Bang.
What the heck?
So let's talk about this little device here. I'll put it here so you can all see it. And it is a Lenovo Mirage VR180 camera. Now, I've had this thing for about a month now. I bought it. It was £279.99, so quite expensive bit of kit. But it's kind of one of the first consumer VR180 cameras.
There's
and it's
kind
of
bundle,
like,
right? Of this one.
There is, yeah. You can buy it with the Lenovo Mirage headset as a bundle as well, but that's a very expensive bundle. I think it's like maybe 700 or 800 quid.
Yeah.
But this is like the first sort of camera that's certified by Google as their sort of flagship camera for their 180 VR platform. So I had a quick play around with it. I didn't really sort of get to grips with it that much, kind of got my sort of head around it a little bit, but then kind of put it to one side, waiting for a good moment to use it. And for those that follow my channel, you'll know that every month I do like a Ask Mike Anything sort of episode. And I thought this would be really great.
Wait.
Go.
The first comment that we got already on this on this device is VR porn. Here we come.
You can make your own home stuff now. There you go. The Pornhub community VR page is now going to be on fire with all these like new creators out there.
Yeah, that's
Zim's
true.
going to love it. Zim's going to love it.
Finally, a reason to get a premium account.
I have never created a porn film. Thank you.
just a consumer.
That's publicly available. All right.
Okay. So we digress. But basically, I plan to use the camera for my new Ask Mike Anything episode. So I set it all up, got it all up and running, and just basically went for it. Now, the issues I faced with this camera, because there are so many issues that I faced with it, I thought I'd just kind of go through it with you. So first things first is that the audio on this device absolutely sucks. So you're always going to have to record your audio separately. And then secondly, after a short amount of time, this baby is just going to cook and overheat. So I think it took about 16 to 17 minutes. And then the thing just shut itself off and was like, no, screw you. I'm way too hot. I'm just turning myself off. So that kind of sucked.
Sounds familiar to you, Mike, does it?
Always. But if you're in the middle of a recording, you're in your little vibe, you're in your flow, and then it just turns itself off, then that kind of sucks. So I had to wait like 5 or 10 minutes for it to cool down first, and then start re-recording again. And then after 5 minutes, it just turned itself off again. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this now. And then I had my raw footage. So the raw footage is in like 4K, so it's pretty big files. I think the raw footage combined for a 20-minute video was about 8 gigabytes. So the other issue that I had with this, which is the major issue right now, is that to edit the video in Premiere, you need to basically convert the video files, and you can only do that by using a Mac or Linux. You can't actually do that on Windows right now.
What?
Yeah. So Google released the tools, but only for Mac and Linux. So you have to convert it on a Mac. So then for me, I had to basically transfer it to USB, take it to a Mac, convert it, which took 4 hours, then bring it back to my PC. By that time, it doubled in size to like 17 gigabytes. Then I edited it. And then during editing, I found out that because this runs at a variable frame rate, that the audio is not in sync.
No, you're not like, are you kidding me? So this thing, everything it records,
variable frame rate.
That's a disaster.
Yep. Mike, have you got a bin in that room? Because it's going to come in handy in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Also, isn't 4K a bit low for 180?
It looks good natively when you put it in the Go. Great. When you upload it to YouTube, it compresses it in a way that makes it look a bit Vaseline-y, put it that way. So the whole process from like start to finish probably took about 12 hours just to edit a VR180 video. And then even then I had to remove, because I normally have like the tweets pop up in the video so people can see like the tweets that were originally posted asking me questions. And I thought that would be really neat looking in VR, and you can add that in there, but it just looks so off and is actually to a point where it could make people sick. So I just had to remove all that completely.
In what way then? Like, how does it look in VR if you
front of your between?
So you can, if you have it dead center, it looks square. But if you remove it slowly down, so it's around my sort of like waist height, so natural sort of place you'd place it, it's curved. And it does have a 3D effect that you can add to it, and you can add to how far in terms of the user's distance you want it to be. So like 6 feet, 3 feet roughly. But when I played around with it, I couldn't really get it to make sense in a nice, comfortable way. So in the end, I just removed it all.
So did you have like an opportunity to check it out in VR while you were editing it?
No. And this is the thing, like I had no idea how this was going to look until I transferred it to my Go and watched it in my Go before I uploaded it to YouTube. So there's no way during editing that you can really check it out unless you put it in anagraph mode and use red and blue 3D glasses. That's the only way you can check it right now.
Oh,
those are brilliant, by the way.
I don't have a pair because I'm we're not living in the 80s, you know.
So let's say I'm Rowdy and I buy this VR180, you know, and I'm like I don't have a Mac and I like to go on Windows. So what if I just buy a Mac and then put Windows on there and then try again?
No, it's not going to work. You need the
It is
the
like
Mac
bound to
Yes.
okay.
Like the Mac software. Like apparently it will be coming to Windows soon, but it's just not there right now. And it's a shame because Google are kind of very interested in VR180. I know they're trying to get a lot of VR creators on, or like not VR creators, but creators on board to start using these sort of devices. But I think the process, even for someone that's an enthusiast like me and is happy to sort of experiment, is very painful. Very painful.
I think they don't use the word enthusiast. I think they use the word sadist, Mike.
I can't take you seriously wearing those glasses, dude.
But yeah, I can't see anything. They're actually completely blocked at the other side, so very uncomfortable to wear.
But yeah, you're right. Like
I asked the question about the so this is 180. Do you have any experience? Because I have a little bit of experience with like 360 cameras, and
I've never tried to upload a 360 video, but the funny thing is, like in the encoding settings, you have to upload it to Premiere as a 360 and then crop it to a 180, which is kind of strange.
Huge problems with doing 360 as a video format, because what I always say, like when you watch a movie, the director has something in mind that you want to look at. Yeah. So if it's a movie, it makes sense that it's dead center or like a little bit off center because you have a certain frame. VR 180 would work much better for that because you have that 180 degrees and you can still work with a center kind of view where you can look at everything is still in your field of view because your eyes are actually up to always at 210 degrees. So it makes much more sense to do that kind of stuff for a movie kind of experience than a 360 video.
We were just talking about
that's why YouTube is also investing much more in the VR 180.
Yeah, I feel like 180 could become the standard on YouTube instead of like 360. 360 is still like a niche where there needs to be something that you want to do with 360.
It works
to happen everywhere around you, but with 180 it's more
works very well for like if you want to film like a landscape or like some kind of time lapse kind of scene. Where there's not a single point of focus where you need to talk to, or if it's some kind of like game experience, like for example, where someone is talking in your right ear and then someone is talking in your left ear. When it's like more like a game experience than like a movie, I think that would work.
I think like 180 is also getting closer to what YouTube is already offering at this moment. It gets closer to what people already do. If they need to make it 360, let's say you're a vlogger or you are a gamer or you are like a 180 camera is much more like it's easier to use and it makes more sense to use than a 360 for many genres on YouTube, I think.
But yeah, I would say that the audio desync is like a deal breaker, I think.
Yeah, that's like a huge problem. Do you think they can fix that in the software or something? Is that just...
I doubt it. I think it's a limitation of the hardware because of the 4K sort of resolution.
Wait.
So I think...
You can't convert that either, like to like a constant frame rate, like again, it would just take another 4 hours, but...
You could handbrake it. You probably could, but I don't know if a handbrake is compatible with this VR format. I have no idea. I didn't try it, but you're right. You probably could do something like that. But I think the limitations are right now to use a device like this. It needs to be on a tripod because any movement could cause the viewer motion sickness. It kind of needs to be at eye level, which is something that I didn't necessarily take into account that much to make it feel natural, like you're actually having a conversation with someone, which makes sense. Good feedback from people that commented on the video. You need to record audio separately. So I think, for short little clips of maybe an event, so like say maybe Oculus Connect 5, just put this in the corner somewhere and just capture a little bit of the ambience of an event. You could do a quick clip like that, but I don't know. It's kind of a bit limited. Whether or not I'll keep it, I really don't know.
I mean, there are more 180 cameras out there, but they are just out of like a price range for consumers. So this is like the closest you get to for that price,
You're not going to find this on an adult movie shoot, put it that way, in terms of VR, overheating every 15 minutes. The actors are going to get a real problem there. So.
But it only lasts 2 minutes, such a scene, so...
No, but you are right about the static thing, because I did watch a couple of vlogs in 182, and I felt like a little like Smurf on a selfie stick, and I was like bouncing around, and I got like kind of motion sick. I do feel like that, and that's why YouTube is working on this, and they want people to explore it because they want to create like a format for it, because there is no format for it right now. All these problems you are now encountering is something they want to get out of this. Like they want to get like away from that, so creators can just grab the camera and done, they are ready to go without any issues. So
yeah, it was a fun experiment, and I'm glad I tried it. You know, I learned a lot doing it, so it's always fun to sort of learn new things. But for me, until they really release the Windows VR180 Creator app, I'm probably not going to touch it again. So hopefully that's sometime in the near future.
Don't you find that like we just talked about a standard which is coming for the actual physical cables, but when it comes to like video formats, no longer are we in a situation where you have different types of tapes and, you know, a reader for that tape. We're in digital, and you'd think that that means that it's super easy to access, you know, old family memories and stuff. But I do find, like, for 180 and 360 stuff, the file that's generated is not easy to get at. And in 5 years and 10 years and 15 years, am I going to be able to even read that file anymore? So, like, I hesitate to even get on board with any of this stuff. I've tried them. Sometimes they're good, but I do
it's
find
because there
that
is no
there's a compatibility problem.
No, but I do feel like there is no standard yet. Like 360 is still like a thing. 180 just came around the corner. There will be more out there, and how that's going to look like. As we said, like quality wise as well, there's so much to learn here. It's just like, I think if you make a good 180 camera, it's going to be too expensive for consumers.
What was that? We covered this a while ago, Mike. The Facebook said they were going to support. Am I right in saying 3D models? Did they also say 180? I'm trying to remember, because I remember they said there was some major update coming that was going to
for Oculus Home.
No, Facebook.
Natively. Possibly VR180, because I think they've all kind of agreed, like you said, it's a more curated standard, and it's better, higher resolution, you know, than a 360. It looks nicer, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, maybe you're probably right. But I think my viewers, like a lot of my viewers, watched it in VR with the Go, or like using the Rift, using like Opera browser. And they really enjoyed it. They thought it was cool to like kind of have a limited look around the studio as I was talking. So it does kind of add something, which is interesting, but I think we're just a little way off it being sort of like the norm, put it that way.
Yeah, good job on going through the grueling effort to get there, Mike. That's it
was, you know, for science. That's what we do.
We do it all for science, right, Zim?
Yeah. So let me sort of round this one up. If you've got any questions you want to ask, chuck them in the comments in the chat now. And just a reminder, you know, obviously it's a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show live streamed every Saturday on Nathie's YouTube channel for now. And then you can tune into the show at 7 p.m. in Europe, 6 p.m. in the UK, 12 midday in Central US. Like I said, though, you know, we're going to be rebranding this whole thing. It's going to be called F.reality in the very near future. Our very first live stream will be on the 11th of August using the brand new brand and the brand new channel. So please go over to the F.reality YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn the notifications on. A link is in the description down below. And if you're interested, also check out our website, which is www.f.reality.tv. So yeah.
Beautiful. A little bit of news here, Mike, for just a free weekend for anyone looking to check out these two titles. Total polar opposites, but we've got a free weekend on for Onward and Orbis VR. So if you're into kind of milsim,
yes,
Onward is definitely top dog, and Orbis is the best thing that we've got that kind of is equivalent to WoW. So if you're into MMOs, you know, go get your wizard stick out.
Yeah.
Also, we
why
got
not?
One question, by the way. I think it's for you, Mike. Does VR180 in the browser of the Go now work? It didn't before.
Yes. So there is a way you need to do it. If you play it in the browser of the Go, it will look like a normal video. Same with normal YouTube. But what you need to do is you need to make it full screen. Yep. And then there's options down there to convert it to VR 180, just 180, top and bottom, side by side. There's tons of different options in there, so then you can watch it.
You do all kinds of things with those options.
Yeah.
And all sorts of content.
So when you announced the new name of our podcast, people were wondering what F stands for. Now that's something you can just make up for yourself. It can be anything. I would love to see some like suggestions on what that should mean.
For?
Be creative. I'm very curious. But yeah, again, you know, if you want to subscribe to the new channel, then that would be great. Because we're now like kind of moving. It's like you know, cleaning everything up, going to the next like location. So yeah, if you want to do that, then it would be great. If you enjoy this podcast and you're watching it every week, then yeah, just subscribe up front. And before you know it, a whole new epic podcast drops. Like it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be the best podcast on this entire planet that is all about VR, AR, and dinosaurs.
Yeah, that is for sure. For sure. We've got so much cool stuff to show you. So, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. It's been a blast, as always. Thank you for joining us in the chat. And thank you for listening if you're an audio listener on the podcast as well. And until then, we'll see you on next week's show. So until then, have a good week and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
See you
later.